The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar, The Magic of Gamification in Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM with our solution, the Gamifics365, revitalizing Dynamics 365 CRM operations with fun, games and activities. Now, before we move ahead, let me outline the webinar logistics. Lines of all the participants will be muted throughout the session. In case any question arises in your mind, please feel free to ask them with the help of the chat window. And I assure you that I will try to answer most of the questions, if not all, depending on the time constraints. My name is Ninad, and I'm the Business Development Manager for iNogic. Speaking of iNogic, we are a leading service provider and ISV for past more than a decade, and we have exclusive Dynamics 365 products. We are very much active in the Dynamics 365 community, and our blogs are extremely popular and also appreciated by the community. We truly believe in the philosophy of one-click solution, which is building productivity apps that reduces multiple steps which otherwise a CRM user has to take. Now, as you can see on the slide, we have various applications on the offering. I would like to take a moment and very briefly describe some of them. Maplytics. Maplytics is certified for Microsoft Dynamics 365, and it helps businesses around the world to plot, plan, visualize, and analyze Dynamics CRM data on a map. It offers seamless mapping services. Key features include managing territories, route optimization, smart appointment planner, and many more. One of my favorite apps from the bouquet is the subscription and recurring billing management. It provides a robust platform for all the subscription-based businesses to seamlessly manage, streamline subscription and recurring billing processes from within the Dynamics 365 CRM. Another pearl that we have is the Map My Relationships. It's a productivity control that provides mind map view of the Dynamics 365 CRM data on a form. It helps the users to visualize connections and relationships between entities or related records in a single view. Now, apart from developing these awesome applications, we are also SI. We do assist partners and customers with offshore development services. So in case you have any requirement, it might be small customizations or a world-changing idea for that matter, I would request you to get in touch with us on crm@inogic.com. Okay, so what's the agenda for the day? We'll start with the impact of the gamification, followed by some key features provided by the Gamifics 365, a small yet very effective demonstration, and followed by the Q&A session. So all work, no play makes work life really boring. And when work life is boring, then there is a minimum productivity. But with engaging games and activities, daily routine work life can be made exciting and entertaining. A perfectly gamified CRM can be used to engage and motivate the users to give their very best every day. This will definitely result in the daily work becoming more engaging and fun with gamification. No wonder many surveys indicate that the companies with organized and effective gamification tend to make almost 7x profit compared to companies who haven't implemented gamification. Well, why just talk about companies? 90% of the employees says gamification makes them more productive at work. Now let's face it, games are fun, right? Games motivate and encourages individuals to do their best. So it's a no surprise that around 70% of the global 2000 companies have adopted gamification elements in their workplaces to improve the productivity of their workforces. Gamification is a concept which has a huge potential to improve the productivity rate and the rate of returns for the organization. Today, gamification has become an integral part of many business processes. Let it be sales, marketing, customer services, product development, and so on. Now, this has opened many avenues, and the Dynamics 365 CRM gamification is one of them. iLogic is proud to present the user gamification module in a new avatar named Gamifics365. So let's have a quick peek at some of the key features provided by Gamifics365. Well, to start off with, we definitely have games. With Gamifics365, we can create different types of engaging games like challenges, face-off, and race for CRM users. We also have game rules. Every game must be played within the rules. Yes, we want the users to win, but the game needs to be played by the rules. With game rules, the administrator can set rules and conditions for games to be played on an individual or the team level. We also have badges and rewards to boost the confidence and to provide that extra bit of inspiration. Bestow badges and rewards to motivate players that will eventually translate to achieving the organizational goals. We also have scoreboards and leaderboards where we can view the player performance on the real time through personalized Gamifix 365 scoreboards and leaderboards. Well, we also have a mobile app that enables the players to join games and track performances through mobile app. Well, I also have one more feature which I have reserved for the end of the demonstration. I'm pretty sure, just like us at iLogic, once I reveal the feature, even you will be excited with that particular feature. So let me hold my horses for a moment and let's see the Gamifix 365 in action. Now, for today's webinar, I have already installed the Gamifix 365. I've configured it with few games and game rules. Now, let me just switch to my CRM window. Now, here I have logged in as an administrator. And at the very top, I can see the leaderboards and I can also see the players who are playing within the game and at what points and ranking each of them stands. Right here under the administration, I also have got Gamifix 365 Studio. And if I go within my Gamifix 365 Studio, I can see a lot of rules that I have created. Now, I've created more than 100 rules. Now, that's just a part of our attempt to cover all the scenarios. You may or may not require those many rules. That depends completely upon your business requirements. We also have got, we can view the rule, we can clone the rule, we can activate, deactivate. Now these features comes really handy. If you want to implement a certain rule for a certain period of time, we can activate the rule. If we don't want to implement a rule for a certain period of time, we can definitely deactivate that game rule as well. Now, since we're talking much more about games, let me go ahead and hit on games. So I've already opened it in a new tab and we have got multiple games. But for today's demonstration, I'm particularly focusing on one game called as Cold Call Warriors. Now, the beauty of Gamifics365 is this can be implemented at almost all the levels. You just name any use case and we have got the base covered. It can be, the games can be designed for agents who are making phone calls day in, day out basis. The game can, a new game can be designed for sales representatives who are creating leads, qualifying leads, or maybe closing leads. All of them can be covered. In fact, we can also have a game for service representatives to motivate them to close more and more number of cases. So if you think of any entity, any event associated with any entity, a game can be very well created for any such scenarios. So let me hit on Cold Call Warriors. Now I tried to give this a self-explanatory name, the Cold Calls Warrior. So the idea behind creating this game was to incentivize, to motivate all my agents who are making the cold calls, and a certain points would be associated or would be awarded to the player once the player creates a phone call entity record within the CRM. However, I've also applied a condition. And the condition is that the phone call must be made in the outgoing direction and not in the incoming one. So with that background, let's see what it takes to configure a game. Now, for simplicity, as if I just scroll down for a moment, you may observe that some of the fields are locked because the game is already in progress. However, for simplicity, what I'm trying to do is I'll try to keep a couple of windows side by side. So here's my a blank window for game. And on my left side, on this screen's left side, you will notice the configured game, and on the right side, it's a completely new window for the new game. And we'll try to compare what's configured for Cold Call Warriors and what are the different options for you when you go ahead and start configuring the Gamifix 365 in your environment. So let's start with the basic one. I've provided a name for this game, and you can also provide an optional description. We can set the start date, we can set the end date, depending upon the duration for which you want to play this game, or for the duration for the players who intend to play this game. Now comes a very important type, which is the type of the games and the players of this game. So as we can observe, I've selected the type of the game as challenge, and the game is between users. However, if I just go to my right side window, we can see the different types of games that are supported by Gamifix 365. We definitely have a challenge, we have a face-off, and we also have a race. So what's the difference between all of them? Well, the face-off is a game type that can be played only between a couple of users. Now, this game comes really handy if you want to find out the numero uno, which is the number one and the second number position, if at all you want to have a competition between two users. The challenge and the race games can be played between multiple users, multiple teams, and we also have, let me just change this to challenge, and we also have fantasy teams. Now the fantasy teams has definitely taken the world by the storm, and we have tried to replicate the same fun within the CRM. So let's assume there is a race going on between multiple users of the sales team. Now these sales team members are moving mountains to achieve and probably overachieve their target. So the fun lies only within the sales team. Well, every sales team member might be checking their ranking, their points on a weekly, daily, or even an hourly basis. But what about the other teams working in the organization? The accounts team, for example, might just be missing the fun, or the operations team might also want to play. No worries, the fantasy team is their key to fun. With Fantasy Game, any non-participating CRM user can create their own teams with the players they think are the best. And then even the non-participating user can enjoy the fun of the games. Okay, let's see the next attribute. Within the cold call warriors, we have set the behavior of the game as public. So what's the behavior? So basically, the behavior of the game can take a couple of values. It is either private or public. When we set a behavior of the game to private, the creator of the game has to add the players to this particular game by using the third tab. The administrator can go on the players and then add the players manually. However, if we set the behavior of the game to public, the CRM user with a certain condition will be able to join the game voluntarily. Now, what certain condition I'm speaking about? So the moment I make it as public, you may notice that we have also got something called as allowed rules. Now, allowed rules enables that the CRM user has the necessary role to join the game. Now, this comes in handy in situations like, let's say, if the game is about achieving the sales target, then it's quite imperative that the game should be played among CRM users who has any sales related role. However, as you can notice, in my Cold Call Warriors game, I haven't set the allowed rules to any roles. This means any user, any CRM user can come and join this particular game. Now, this is definitely what we don't want in the real world, but I have kept it purposely as blank so that I could demonstrate this in the webinar. Next is the allow players to join the game if the game is already in progress. Oh, so what happens if, let's say I'm starting the game today and one of the players is not available today. He might be on a sanctioned leave or he might have some medical emergency and he's not present today to join that particular game. So the flag allow players to join the game determines whether the player can join the game even if the game has already begun. For example, if I set the flag to yes, this means that even if the game has begun, even if some players have scored certain points, still a new player can join that particular game. However, if you don't want any player to join the game once the game has begun, you can definitely set it back to no. So that's pretty much about the configuration for the game. However, we will also require some game rules. So right under here in the second tab of the game rules, we notice that we have already associated a rule called as GR, just using a nomenclature, game rule for cold call warriors. Now, before I deep dive the game rule for cold call warriors, let me just elaborate this game rules. With Gamifics365, you can associate multiple rules for the same game. Now, this really comes in handy. Let's say, for example, I want, let's speak hypothetically. There's a sales team, and as an organization, my aim is to increase the sales in Europe. Great. So what I can do is I can create a game and I can create multiple rules. For example, if a sales representative is closing a lead from Asia Pacific region, he might be getting 500 points. However, if a sales representative is closing a lead from European region, then he will be getting 1000 points. Now, that's the beauty of Gamifics365. People are motivated because they know that they are going to get 1000 double points. And as an organization, it helps me in achieving my organizational goals. That's the integration that brings onto the table by Gamifics365. Okay, before I go ahead, there might be just one doubt in the mind. Let me just take a heads up on that. How will the system determine which rule needs to be applied? Well, all the rules are present right here if you have multiple rules, and the rule which satisfies the criteria will be selected for the execution, and the points would be awarded accordingly. With that being said, let me open the game rule for cold call warriors. Now, just going back to the same analogy, let me try to bring in a couple of windows for our easy understanding. So on our left-hand side, I have got an existing game rule, the cold call warriors. And on the right-hand side, what we'll be doing is we'll be trying to recreate the same game rule so that we can, excuse me, so that we can explore all the options which are available while creating the game rule. So let's start with the name. We can have an optional description, and then comes the what is this type of the record. Now, the idea behind Cold Call Warriors was to assign certain points once a successful phone call entity record is being created in the outgoing direction. And hence, I have selected the entity name as phone call and the message or the event as the create. However, with Gamifics365, as I had mentioned few moments back, almost every entity, including custom entities, are being supported by the Gamifics365. So you just need to imagine for which use case you need to create the game, and the Gamifix will be happy to help you. Now, for time being, I'm just continuing. I'm just recreating the Cold Call Warriors game rule here. And the event, it supports almost all the events which are associated with the phone call entity. The next is which date should we use? Okay, so let's say I'm using the created on date, and the most important one, who should get the score? So I'm saying created by. You can also select the owning user as per your business requirements. Now comes an extremely important calculate score by. Whether you want to award the points basis on the actual field value or the fixed points. Now, with the cold call warriors, let's say I want to assign 100 points on every call that is made in the outgoing direction. So I can very well set it to fixed points and make it as 100. However, there might be scenarios in your business use case that you might require actual field value. For example, if we are creating a game for sales representatives, and I want to assign the it's a estimated value of the lead as the actual field value. So once the lead is qualified or closed, whatever is the budgeted value, that would be used as the points. So we can very well use the actual field value, and we'll get the corresponding fields. The last one is the records, the filtering of the records for which this rule must apply. Now, I hope you recollect that for our cold call warriors, I had applied a condition, and the condition was that the phone call record must be created for a outgoing direction. So that can be very well achieved. All I need to do is just select the advanced and provide the appropriate fetch XML. Within the advanced file, we can download the fetch XML for the phone call entity record with the direction as outgoing. Just copy and paste it right here, and we are good to go. So now every time a new phone call record would be created with the outgoing direction, the agent would be awarded the points. Quite easy, right, to create a game rule if we are aware of how we want to assign that particular rule. So let me go back and let's go to the third tab, which is the players. Oh wow, we already have a couple of players who have already started working on this particular game, and every Beverly has 900 points and Brian has 1000 points. At this point, let's do a very interesting thing. What I'm going to do is, in a separate window, I have logged in as Beverly right here. That's Beverly, and I'm going to create a phone call entity right here. So let's say it's a sales pitch call for my favorite subscription and recurring billing. let's say Beverly is supposed to call someone. This is just for demonstration purpose. Let me provide a number. I'm ensuring that the direction is outgoing, and let me just mark it as save and close. Perfect. So I have just created a phone call record, a phone call entity record, and I'll go back to my, let's give the solution a couple of moments. And after a couple of moments, I'll be hitting refresh, and I'm expecting, since the call was made by Beverly, this 900 to be changed to 1000. Oh, here it is. So the 900 points has been now changed to 1000. So that's almost at the real time where it happens. All the changes are getting reflected. Works well. Uh, let's move to the next one, which is the game badges and records. Now, with game badges, we definitely want to award the users so that they can get the points. Sorry, as they go ahead in the game and score points, certain badges are being rewarded to them. So the first one that I have selected is the bronze badge on completion of 500 points, the silver badge on completion of 750 points, and a gold badge on the completion of 1500 points. Now, as I am looking at their score, I see that both of them are at the 1000 scoreboard. This means they both should also have bronze as well as silver. Now, just confirming it. So we have Beverly having bronze, we have got Beverly having silver, and Brian having both bronze and silver. Well, how did these badges come out? So we have badges right here under the administration where we can configure the name of the badge. And then, as we just mentioned right here, we have selected the points for which the badges would be awarded. Moving to the next one, we also have earned points. Now, this tab is my personal favorite. We saw that Beverly has 1000 points, Brian has 1000 points, but why the points were awarded? So all you need to do is just hit on this record URL and you will notice that this 100 points has been awarded to Beverly because of this record. So a record with the phone call entity in the outgoing direction, that's responsible for the 100 points to be awarded. By the time it loads, let me just show you an interesting stuff. So as we were speaking, oh, so here's my phone call record because of which 100 points were awarded to the user. So let me go back to Beverly's login and let me go to the user profile of the Beverly in the Gamifix. A fantastic visualization from a player's point of view. The player can set the avatar. The player knows how many points the player has earned till date, under for what number of games, and what badges has been earned, how many number of badges. Also, you may notice that we have activities in timeline, which gives me all the points that has been scored today by this particular player. This my your badges, so the badges which I already own, and the motivational factor of badges that are still pending and I have the ability to earn these particular badges. A part of motivation, to be more honest. And if I scroll down a bit, I have the Beverly is part of almost 6 games, Cold Call Warriors, and if I select a particular game, here's the standing where Brian is at 1000 and Beverly is at 900. Oh, I just forgot to refresh the page because we just created one more record. Beverly should stand at 1000 in the Cold Call Warriors game. So here's Beverly standing at 0.1000. Perfect, works well. Now, I do understand one of the key factors that all the users might, since especially sales representatives, they are so busy with their sales activities that they might not have time to visit this particular web page and so on and so forth. So for that, as I had mentioned during the start, we also have a mobile app. Let me just try to bring it up for you. Now, what you're about to see is the live mobile, the application on live on my mobile phone. So let me just go ahead, hit on Power Apps. Now, at the top, if you notice, I've logged in as Beverly, and let me just go to my Gamifics app. We have tried to bring in all the details that we saw very recently right here on a mobile application. So we have at the top, we have the avatar. We can create a new avatar. I can get all the informations, the games that I'm playing, the points that I have earned, the badges that I have, the total points that I have scored for today, then the games of which I am a part of, and I can also hit on a particular game as I have just tapped on Cold Call Warrior, and I can get all the scoring, the leaderboard, where I am standing. And the best part is when we talk about, just give me a second. Yeah, so the best part is when I'm looking at a leaderboard score, if I just go ahead and if I just check for any particular game, this is a really motivational factor, and since it's available on a mobile phone, I can very well look at all these numbers at my convenience. Maybe I'm on a lunch break, maybe I'm just traveling from one client to the other client, and that's where I'm looking at all these numbers. Another extremely important feature, at the start of the webinar, I had mentioned that I have a big surprise, and I'm pretty sure that you will be excited to know that very recently we have also introduced a feature where all these numbers can be displayed to an external display unit, maybe a television, a monitor, or so on. And uh, of course, because of the infrastructure um, thing, I am not able to demonstrate the television feature, but let's just imagine it, right? Let's close our eyes. Let's imagine we are standing on the office floor. There's a big display unit somewhere on the wall. The entire sales team or the entire service representative team is sitting right under the television. And as and when all the people are making their calls, closing the leads or closing the cases, it is reflected dynamically on the television. It's an amazing scene for any organization, isn't it? I'm pretty sure by now you must be also thinking just like me, hey, I can use Gamifics to improvise this so and so thing in my organization. So with that in question, I just want to launch a very quick poll. Now, in your organization, which activity do you think can be motivated with the help of our Gamifics365? Whether you can motivate the agents, whether you can motivate representatives, whether you can motivate service representatives for more case closures, multiple possibilities, right? This can be applied anywhere and everywhere. Wow. Trust me, I have been taking such webinars and never have I received a response which says 100% for multiple possibilities. And I completely agree with the poll. So definitely we can any scenario that comes in the head with respect to the CRM that can be converted into a game. And the bottom line is the organization's goal can be achieved with the help of such gamification. With that, I would like to thank you for just casting your vote. And let me switch back to my PowerPoint. So before I open the floor for the question and answers, I'll take it some time, and I've tried to collate a few questions which I have been facing regularly. So I'll try to take it first. How will the Gamifics 365 benefit users? Well, the possibilities are endless, like I mentioned. Whether it is making CRM daily routine work fun for the users, whether it is rapid development of skill sets, encourage team building with the help of fantasy games, the possibilities are endless. Now, is Gamifics 365 compatible across devices? Definitely yes. That's one of the reasons I actually also demonstrated the Gamifics 365 on my mobile device itself. Is there any limit to creating games with Gamifics 365? Absolutely no. There are no limit to creating games, whether you are using trial version, whether you are using the full version on the production, there is no limit. What Microsoft Dynamics products do you support? Let me just hold on to this question because I've got it covered in the next few minutes. Can we create customized games with Gamifics 365? Absolutely yes. You can create any kind of customized games with Gamifics 365. Okay, with that, I open the floor for any questions that you may have. Please use the chat window and pop in your questions. I'll be happy to take them. Well, I have a question. It says, can we create multiple games? Oh, definitely, yes, we can create multiple games. In fact, many of our prospects, customers, they are whoever are using such kind of scenarios, they have got a series of games as well. So you have a altogether separate game for the agents who are calling and generating the leads. You have got a separate game for agents who are actually qualifying the leads, and you have a separate game for agents who are closing the leads, and it creates a beautiful system out of it. Okay, so before I move, I just wanted to take one more minute to introduce to you our other solution, User Adoption Monitor. Now, User Adoption Monitor is a part of this particular product family itself. The idea is with Gamifics 365, we want to motivate the users to use more and more of CRM, enter the data so that they can get points based on their actions that they are doing. However, from the organization's point of view, it's also equally important to keep a track of whether the users are actually using the system or not. And that is very much possible with our product User Adoption Monitor. And to sweeten this particular deal, I just wanted to inform that every time you go ahead with the purchase of Gamifics 365, you will be provided User Adoption Monitor at no additional cost. Okay, I've got a late question. Time constraints. So, who can see the user profile? Only the user or everybody? When you say the scoring, the leaderboards, the rankings, everybody can see. That's the idea behind it. So that the number one, the numero uno, the number one person who is standing at the top of the leaderboards has this ability of maintaining his number one position, and number second onwards up to the last person, they get the motivation that, hey, I'm just so many steps away from the numero uno position. So I hope that answers. In case if the question was on some different line, I would request you to drop an email with an elaborated question on crm@ilogic.com, and I'll be very happy to deep dive in the answer for that particular question. Okay, so as I was saying, with Gamifics 365, you would be getting User Adoption Monitor at absolutely no additional cost. The idea is use Gamifics 365 to motivate the users, and then use the User Adoption Monitor to keep a track whether everything is working correctly or not. Okay, then where can we get started? Well, you can download a fully functional 15 days trial of the Gamifics 365, the User Adoption Monitor from Microsoft AppSource, or you can also visit our website www.ilogic.com and download a fully functional 15 days trial of both these solutions. Once you have downloaded, drop in a mail to crm@inogic.com, and we would be very happy to assist you in setting up, in configuring the Gamifics 365 or the user adoption monitor as per your business case use cases, so that you can invest the maximum time of the trial in actually experiencing the magic and the results that both